Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. Today I want to discuss the 6 signs your ex wants you back. Obviously, the more of these signs you see, the better. The more likely it is that your ex really does want you back. However, keep in mind that they broke up with you, so it's up to them to get back with you, to ask to get back together, or to make the moves to get back together, because they don't always ask. It's not up to you to see the signs and then think, oh, they want to get back together, and then you ask. No, this is a delicate moment. You can't rush it. Just as you may have gone slow in the beginning of your relationship when you first started dating, it's the same thing. This is now a new relationship, and so you still have to go slow and let them make the moves. So let's go. Number 1 is that they are reaching out often, and that's with texts, calls, which are better than texts, or in person, which are better than calls or texts. I've heard of people where their ex showed up at their house or at their job. And when they call you or text you, what are they talking about? Is it just to tie up loose ends, to get their stuff back, to get your stuff back to you? Or are they interested in you and what's happening with your life? If they're asking about you, that means they're interested. So that's a good sign. And remember, I said it's often. So don't think that just because you got one text that it's a sign they want to get back together. No, this has to be a pattern over a period of time. One text or one call or showing up one time does not necessarily mean they want to get back together, but it's a good sign. Number 2 is that they want to hang out. They want to see you. Now, this is very important. It might be the most important of all the signs I'm going to give to you. And that's because even if there's the other signs where they are reaching out via text or calls, etc., if they don't try to see you, then how are you supposed to have a relationship? It means that they're just trying to keep you on the back burner, or trying to keep you as a friend. But if they're not trying to see you, then that's a clear sign actually that they don't want to get back together. There was an ex that had called and texted for about 2 months. I've told this story before. And then we finally talked. And I think on the second call, he's like, oh, we should get together, la la la. I go, sure. Did he ever make plans to get together? No. Did we ever get back together? No. So they have to want to see you and hang out. Otherwise, they don't want to get back together, no matter what other signs they are showing. Number 3 is that when you are together, they're flirty, they're touching you, they're affectionate. They miss you, and so they want to touch you and hug you and squeeze you. They almost can't help themselves. I remember one time I met this guy, and I was very attracted to him. And this was just someone I met. And I had this urge to touch him and hug him, and I didn't. But so that was with someone that I had just met. So imagine your ex, who you have all this history with. That urge for them should be even stronger if they're still interested and they want to get back together. The next one is that they are jealous. If they were over you, if they didn't care, they probably wouldn't be jealous. Now, this is a double-edged sword in the sense that they may just be jealous because they don't want you, but they don't want anyone else to be with you. Men are more likely to be like this because they're very territorial, and even if they don't want you, they don't like the idea of someone else being with you. So jealousy in and of itself doesn't mean that they want you back, but if you see some of the other signs combined with jealousy, then it's a good sign that they do want you back. Number 5 is that they are upset and crying. Either you've heard about it, your friends or your family told you, or they're posting on social media and talking about it, or they do it in front of you. Again, if someone doesn't care about you, if they've moved on, they're not going to cry, they're not going to be upset. So if they're still emotional about the breakup, if they're still emotional about your relationship, that's a great sign that they're having a change of heart and maybe, just maybe, they want to get back together. Number 6 is that they apologize and they say they want to get back together. That's pretty obvious. It can't just be an apology, because I've seen cases where the ex apologized and then said, I'm sorry and have a good life. Not exactly like that, but they just apologized, but they weren't trying to get back together. So the apology in and of itself is great, but they also have to say that they want to get back together, because otherwise they may just be apologizing to alleviate your guilt. And finally, number 7, it's a bonus one, even though I said 6, is asking about you. If they're asking mutual friends or your family or colleagues, whoever, then it means that they're still interested. If they've moved on, if they have another girlfriend or boyfriend, or if they don't care about you, they're not going to be asking about you because they don't care. And so if they're asking about you, again, that's a great sign. They just might want to get back together. Now, I had an instance where, as I mentioned earlier, the guy did a lot of these signs and we did not get back together. So the most important one, as I mentioned before, is that they actually do want to hang out, they make plans to hang out, and they show up. Because otherwise, even if they're reaching out, if they're flirting via text or phone, if they express jealousy, they're crying, they're upset, and they apologize, and they're asking about you, but they're not trying to meet up, and they don't say they want to get back together, then they probably don't. So those are the 2 most important signs. The fact that they do want to see you and that they do mention getting back together. So if you would like help in getting your ex back, you can contact me about private coaching at my website, theartoflove.net. If you're listening to this on iTunes, I would appreciate if you would rate and review the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, remember to like and subscribe. And finally, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.